because so I'm at work. The time is 9:32 a.m. No, but I got to think about this like theory I have, the ping theory of consciousness is what I call it. Say about fish. Fish gets chased up on land by a predator. And then the fish, let's say consciousness is permeating everything, moving through everything. My fingernails, consciousness is moving through it, but it doesn't have a brain to amplify it. So my brain is the one thing within my whole being, which is conscious and aware of, whatever. Which is, can have awareness. To experience qualia of life. Qualia are how you relate to stuff. Each person, somebody might see pink. Pink might be a sunset. It might mean tequila sunrise. It might mean a bug. Pink means a bunch of different things for a bunch of different people. It's not just a color is what I'm getting at. So let's say you have a predator that chases a fish up on land, and then that thing sends a ping back. It's safe up on land, away from the predator. It realizes this. It's happy. It gets a hit of feel-good chemicals or something, realizing that it escaped the predator. So then that sends a ping back from its microcosm, its brain, to the larger source consciousness, which is the macrocosm. That then sends the information back to encode its DNA to help it evolve legs or the ability to breathe air. And I'm not an atheist or a theist. I'm not a creationist or a Darwinianist. I'm having my own conscious experience here on planet Earth. So I don't really get into any one thing or the other, if that makes sense. I feel like that complicates the beauty of life. Life is complex. It's also beautiful. I don't want to overcomplicate it, though. I want to actually enjoy life. So then, that fish then, eventually after generations, and this doesn't take away from creation. It doesn't take away from Darwin. It doesn't really confirm or take away from either of those paths. Because maybe that source consciousness you could call a god, or maybe that source consciousness is just evolutionary process playing out. So eventually that fish should build up neural networks. Associated neural networks are like, it didn't have legs, but then once its fin bent to create a leg, then it would start building up a neural network associated with being able to walk on land. So its brain would have this part that would build, and that would go to larger brain size, which enabled it to experience more things in life, more qualia, the quality of living on land, which would then be sending pings back, like a sonar ping, back to the source consciousness, and then the source consciousness would kind of be bounced off of, and then the information would kind of ping back as a wave, and then hit the fish, and then encode its genetics, DNA, to evolve whatever traits it needed to then live on land. And eventually maybe that's how something evolved out of water, or evolved. You could say this was a number of different things. So, if humans were primates, which there's, a lot of genetic, or 99 or 98% of our code is shared with, chimpanzees or, apes, then that could be explained a certain way. Psychedelics might help with that. There's that theory, about coming down out of the trees, and somebody, hunter-gatherer, ate a shroom, and that caused their brain size to grow because the neural networks associated with that would rise to somebody painting in caves, which rise to us creating archetypes, maybe potential deities, experiencing those deities as things which help us grow psychologically, which increased, again, intelligence, how we relate to certain things, empathy towards others. We experience the goddess archetype, or a divine male or divine masculine, divine feminine archetype. In doing so, we become better parents. We're really just learning from ourselves. Our microcosm is reflecting into the macrocosm, which is reflecting into us. It's like the God creating people, and the people are creating God at the same time. It's all synergy. So it's just a thought. So that ping would basically be the fish is on land. It needs legs. It needs to survive. It's saying the ping back, holy shit, like life's good. Excuse my cussing. Excuse me. Try not to cuss too much. And then that ping says, well, life is valuable because, look at the universe. We haven't really found it in the complex form anyplace else. Life is valuable here, so let's send that ping back to help this thing evolve, so then it can walk on land. And then it can breathe air. And then eventually that thing develops those traits to do that. And that is, if you even think about it from a creator standpoint, it'd be pretty cool to watch. Think about watching a kid grow up. when you see a child slowly evolve, I've had friends that have kids. Some of those friends see one of the greatest things is watching their kid figure stuff out, watching their kid evolve. So it doesn't take away from the creation story or the evolution story, is what I'm getting at. Either or, kind of work together. Why I say the mushroom thing is there's this thing with jumps in consciousness. You ever see somebody they're into weird stuff, and then they take a mushroom, and the next thing the most empathetic, kind, loving hippie that's artistic. Well, think about what that would do to a very primitive society. People would put weapons down, and think of how society has evolved. We don't use weapons nowadays, unless we absolutely have to, basically. And those that do are usually, they're not taking doses of mushrooms. So you get what I'm saying. I'm sure you can understand what I'm speaking about. Anyway, just a theory I have. I'm at work right now, so I can't make this go too long. But yeah, I call it the ping theory of consciousness. And there's a lot of accredited scientists that have been saying there's a lot to do. And I don't mean people that are into pseudoscience. Accredited scientists. There's this American Psychological Association, the APA. There's a lot of stuff on there relating to what I'm saying. It's not just trying to blow smoke. It's just a thought I had. Not saying exactly what I'm saying, but something kind of similar. So if everything has consciousness moving through it, doesn't mean this computer is conscious, because the computer doesn't have the computer that I have, the organic computer components of the brain. We feed computers information. And by doing so, the computer then informs, it has its own unnatural, it's synthetic algorithms based on what we're giving that through our life experience in life. Somebody hashtags San Diego is great, because I'm in San Diego County. And then that creates an algorithm on a program to kind of put that out within people that are searching for San Diego, if that makes sense. So when you think about it, the computer is almost like a reflection of our computer, is almost like our child, which sounds weird. People say that with certain advanced technologies, that we're the god to the advanced technologies. We're playing the Yahweh, and I'm not religious. I'm just using this as because I'm in a Christian nation, to the Adam story. I'm aware of certain terminology. I'm not Jewish. I'm just throwing this out there. Seems like, the name of Yahweh or Yeshua or whatever. No, I read a lot of spiritual stuff, so I'm aware of certain things. Awareness is good to have. Anyway, but so that's my ping theory of consciousness. These we would be like the deity. You ever seen that painting with the deity touching the finger of Adam? And it's giving life to it. We would be like the deity giving life to the machine. And that source field of consciousness is what helped people evolve, whether that's some creator or some sort of Darwinian thing. Either way, it's kind of like this beautiful flower of life, geometric, everything kind of learning from each other to move forward and grow in life. But I think that's where we get into terminology, when people talk about enlightenment and certain Eastern philosophies. It's that they start realizing that you're taking an active role, you're aware, you're taking an active role in this life. And that's helping to create life. The more that you're aware of doing the right thing, you're helping to create life. I feel like that's why some people think they don't belong on planet Earth. It's because they get to a point where their evolution, the rest of the planet almost has to catch up. It sounds weird, I don't want to sound egotistical, I'm not getting into certain things, but it's not like you're actually enlightened, like you're some holy person, because that's another whole thing. You have to be careful calling people holy, because then you fall in the realm of next thing somebody has 3 virgins and they're 16, and then you're going to prison because you're on some weird religious compounds. So just be careful about terminology is what I'm getting at, and people are trying to take advantage of person, the living entities seeking something greater than itself. People do that all the time, and that's very lower vibrational, if you want to call it that. I don't know what else to call it. Way of looking at life is that if you figure something out, or you have a perspective on life which is nice, other people might try to push you into some group, and you might not want to be aligned with that group's ideology. Let's just be careful is what I'm getting at. So anyway, the ping theory of consciousness. I'm sure you can see how all that's related, but it would just be that thing needed to evolve, so it sent a ping back, like a sonar ping, which then bounced off, like a submarine sends a ping out, it bounces off another submarine, something of metal or whatever, and then sends another ping back. So it's like that information says, oh, I need to be able to stand on land, or I need to be able to breathe air, over generations, that the genetics, the DNA is encoded with the information to be able to do that, and then therefore the thing is able to evolve. So it's just a thought.